Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. And today we're going to be building a fantasy dragon as part of this GIMP assignment. GIMP is a a photo editing software that allows us to use layers and other special filters and brushes to create really cool artistic effects. And one of the effects that we want to create today is we want to create a fantasy dragon. Now, if you look on the screen here, it's just going to be a step-by-step assignment that allows us to take natural photos and convert them into something that looks like it comes out of a science fiction novel. And if we scroll down through the different steps here, okay, you'll see that we'll be adding some wings, and eventually when it's all said and done, get all the way down to the bottom here, it's a rather long assignment, we'll have something that looks relatively like this. It's like a dragon that's got some wings and an elongated face and a really cool background. And this is kind of what we're shooting to make. It probably won't look exactly like the picture at the very end, but we're going to do our best to get the closest. And the reason for that is that some of the pictures, because of availability, have changed. So we're going to do our best to blend and create an image that is both similar, but maybe not exactly the same. And that should be true of anything that you create. It should be your own unique design with some of your own unique touches and flavor, so to speak. Okay, so step one, it says first collect some stock photos. You can download the 3 images for the assignment from this link. So I'm going to go ahead and open this link in a new tab, and you'll see it come up here. Okay, and there's 3 images here. We're going to be using this green iguana, this picture of Dunluce Castle, and this bat. Okay, and so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start by clicking on Dunluce Castle here, and I'm going to download this picture. Okay, now I'm using browser Chrome. There's a variety of different browsers you can use, but ultimately I'm going to go ahead and show it in a folder. It's a download folder, so it's going to be right here. I'm going to go ahead and copy that, and I'm going to go ahead and go to the desktop. I'm just going to paste it there. And yes, I want to paste it there. So there's Dunluce Castle. Now I'm going to do that with all 3 of these images, the bat, the castle, and the green iguana. And they're all going to go on my desktop. And the reason for that is I'm going to want to go ahead and import those into my, or I'm going to want to copy and paste them at least into my assignment. So I'm going to go to GIMP. And I now have, I can go ahead and I'm going to add a few things. I'm going to add those images as layers. And I'm going to add them all right from the get-go. It says in the assignment, okay, if you read through it, it talks about adding them at different steps. But because we can use them as layers and because we can hide in them, I'm just going to add them all right at the get-go. And then I'm just going to only work with those that I need to work with at any given time. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Okay, which means I got to go to my desktop. And I got to open up each image. So I'm going to go ahead and open this one. I'm going to open it with Paint, and you'll see why in just a second why I'm doing that. I'm going to go ahead and find the bat. I'm going to open that with Paint. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and the green iguana, I'm going to open that with Paint as well. Okay, now in Paint, we don't have the same features that we have in the GIMP program. But what I can do is it allows me to go ahead, I'm going to go ahead and select these images, and I'm going to cut them. I'm going to go Control X. I'm going to cut them. So I'm going to go to bring up GIMP. I'm going to go to Edit. I'm going to paste as, or I can paste into, or I can create like new layers. Okay, but in order to do that, you actually have to create a new image first. Now in the assignment, it talks about creating something with 1200 by 750 pixels. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. So the width will be 1200. The height will be 750. Go ahead and create that. There we go. Now if I go to Edit, Paste, I can paste into. And there it is. There's my iguana. So I'm going to go ahead and just right-click on it to create a new layer. And now my iguana is a new layer. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and hide my iguana. I'm going to go to the bat. I'm going to select the bat image here. Okay, I'm going to hit Control X to cut it out. I'm going to go ahead and go to GIMP. I'm going to go to Edit, Paste As, or Paste Into, excuse me. right click on the floating selection to create a new layer, and now the bat is a new layer. I'm going to hide the bat. Finally, I'm going to go ahead and go to the castle. I'm going to go ahead and select the castle. Control X to cut it out. I am then going to go ahead and go to Edit, paste into, new layer, and now there's my castle. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and now I can work with the castle to begin with. Now, obviously, this background is much larger than this image, and we can do some things with scaling and whatnot. Ultimately, we really want to be able to create, you know, an environment. If you look at the original image, all the way at the bottom, you'll notice that there's some ocean here, and there's the dragon looking out over the ocean. You'll notice that this original picture of the castle is a little different than the picture I've provided, and that's okay, and that's fine. It's different, but it's not bad. So what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to try to recreate some of that same effect by maybe extending the image to the right, maybe extending it towards the top, and still giving the same sky effects and things like that that we have here. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and work with that a little bit. Now, anytime we change anything to the image, we're going to want to create new layers. You'll notice that ultimately I know what the end goal is here, and I'm going to be referring to the assignment as we go along. But by this point, you should be able to use many of the tools that you've learned to modify without necessarily having to follow the steps step by step. Does that mean that you don't? No, if you do, you'll still be fine. It's just that you can create some of your own touches in working with this image. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to just scale this up a little bit. I want it to be slightly larger. In order to do that, I'm going to need to be working with my tools, and the toolbox is right here. I'm going to go ahead and, ooh, it looks kind of crazy there for a minute. I'm going to scale this. So I have this layer selected. I'm going to go ahead and scale this layer. I've clicked on it, and now I can drag these points, one to here, one to here. Now, without distorting it too much, one of the things you might want to do is you might want to lock the aspect ratio. So I'm going to cancel that because I don't like the fact that it was a little distorted. I'm going to click on it again, and there's a little button right here. Even if you don't have the same version of GIMP that I do, you can still lock it. And now what that does is it keeps the original aspect ratio, so that when I pull it, it moves both the side and the tops and the bottoms the same, kind of creating the same aspect ratio. And now I have, there's my image, and I'm pretty happy with that. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and hit scale, and now it's scaled. Notice these images are relatively good resolution, so we don't lose a lot of we don't lose a lot of pixels. Pixels are what make resolution. You know, the greater the number of pixels, the greater the resolution. Because this is a little bit of a higher resolution picture, it has a lot of pixels, and so when you make it bigger, you're not distorting it too badly. Sometimes when you scale up images, if they're lower resolution, there's not as much detail to the picture, and so it gets blurry. In this particular case, we were able to keep that resolution, which was very nice. Okay, so now we have this image. Let's go back to our assignment here, and let's start looking at some of the things that they have to say. Okay, in this second part, what they want to do is they want you to extend the sky a little bit. And in order to do that, what we're going to need to do is we need to create a new transparent layer. And you're going to use the eyedropper to kind of take a sample of the sky and fill the new transparent layer with that sample color. Then using a variety of cloning and stamping tools, you can then go ahead and kind of create the sky, get rid of a line. If you can you can see it a little bit here. There's a line in the image. You'll notice that by using the clone and stamp tool, they get rid of that line. It is no longer apparent in this second image. Okay, so there's those things. Now, you don't have to use this number EAEFF5. Okay, you'll notice that they do talk about getting the eyedropper tool, and that allows us to take certain colors and kind of select them from the image. So we're going to go ahead and right now, the general gist of this particular part of the assignment is that we want to go ahead and expand the sky. And what I want to do also is I'm going to want to expand a little bit of the ocean. Okay, I'm going to kind of drag it outward. At least I'm going to try. If it doesn't work, that's fine. Sometimes when you're editing photos, one of the things that you can do is you definitely want to try things. And if they don't work out or they start to look bad, you can always delete them. It's the beauty of the undo button. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and go to my image here. Now, because of the way I scaled this up, I'm not left with a whole lot of sky. So I'm going to go ahead and make my canvas a little bit larger. Okay, I'm also going to shrink my toolbox here a little bit. Okay, so I'm going to go to the image, and I'm going to go to canvas size. And I want to make the height, I'm going to make it 900. Okay, resize. Okay, and you'll notice now that it's given a space at the bottom. Well, that's okay. What we can do is in the background layer, we can go ahead and we're going to select all, select none. What we want to do is we want to fill this in the background layer. We'll go ahead and select the bucket here, select white. Okay, we should be able to go ahead and we're going to want to resize the layer. Okay, so we resized the background. That's fine. We're going to go ahead and take our castle. We're going to move it down a little bit. Okay, I'm actually going to position it all the way over to the, I'm going to position it close to the left edge, but not all the way. And the reason for that is if I have a little bit of edge here, I can go ahead and skim or cut it off when I'm all done. If I move it all the way over and then decide that I want to expand this edge a little bit, I'm not giving myself any room. So I'm going to go ahead and just move it over a little bit in that direction. Okay, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to copy the sky and this little bit of water over here. I want to copy that. So in order to do that, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to be working with I need to create a new layer. So I'm going to go ahead and create a new layer. And I'm going to go ahead and make it transparent. Okay, and here's that new layer. And what I want to do is I want to go ahead and copy a little bit of this ocean here. So I'm going to go ahead and use, I'm going to want to go ahead and try to extend this over, try to keep a lot of the same features of the water. Okay, because of time restraints and we got it all set up, I'm going to go ahead and end this particular recording. This will be part 1. When I come back, I'll show you how to finish the sky, how to try to work with the water a little bit, and then we'll continue with the assignment. Once we've set up the background, the rest of it goes relatively simple. I'm going to try to work through mostly just creating the dragon, and then the special things like backgrounds and coloring and things will be extra. That'll be a part 3. So go ahead. This is the end of part 1. Thank you for watching, and this will be a perfect way to set up and get ready to create our dragon on our castle. Thanks.